Robin Sharma is one of the world's top leadership experts whose work is embraced by rock stars, royalty, billionaires, and CEOs. He went from self-publishing his first book at Kinko's and storing 2,000 copies of his book in his kitchen to writing The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which is one of the best-selling books of all time. Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 for my top 10, top 10, 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Robin Sharma, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, be unreasonable.
The very nature of being a human being is we are built to progress. We know that the human brain craves novelty. And we are most alive, we have the most energy, we are most intimate with our best selves when we're progressing towards our mighty mission. So I think we all want. I think what's happened on the planet right now is there's been a great seduction and a great brainwashing. When we are kids, we want. We want to be astronauts. We want to be billionaires. We want to be history makers. We want to do all our dreams. And we stand in awe and wonder. And we're full of curiosity, and we're loving, and we're passionate, and we're strong. We're not afraid to be ourselves. But as we leave the perfection of childhood, the hypnosis and the brainwashing begins. Our well-intentioned parents say, oh, you want to be an astronaut? You want to start a business when you grow up? You want to paint like Jean-Michel Basquiat? Be reasonable. And George Bernard Shaw said it better than I ever could. He said, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in adapting the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. So that's our nature, but our parents give us limitation based on their limited psychology and their emotional patterns that they learned from their parents. Then we go to school and we're taught to live in a box, think in a box, dress like everyone else. Don't sing too loudly, don't dream too big, don't be too passionate. And then our peers do the same thing to us. And then society says, oh, genius is the realm of genetics, not everyday people, which has been dismissed by some very good science. You know, I mean, the 10,000-hour rule that we all know from a Florida State University professor, Anders Ericsson, it just confirms so much. So I do think we all want. I think what's happened is as we've left who we truly are, we've contracted. And now it's all about staying safe in the world versus going out there and letting our brilliance, our primal genius shine. And a lot of people just have stuffed that pain of disappointment and their doubt really deep inside. And they just are addicted to distraction and escapes because they don't want to deal with their potential that they've denied.
Rule number 2, work on your soul.
I believe that potential unexpressed turns to pain. And when we are born, we're born as children into awe and wonder. Adults are nothing more than deteriorated children. But as we leave the perfection of childhood, where we're intimate with our gifts and our talents and awe and wonder, our parents, doing their best, say, you want to be an astronaut? Be practical. And then we go to school and we say, well, I want to be a rock star and I want to be an actor and I want to be Jay Shetty when I grow up. And they say, well, no, he's a different kind of, cut from a different cloth than you. And we get seduced by the beliefs of the people around us, and we go from this awe and wonder and intimacy with our glory, our primal glory. That's just the human condition, and we start to forget who we truly are. And as our dreams start to fall apart, and as we lose that connection with our best selves, and as we get sad and disappointed, and as we failed, that's just part of life, a lot of us shut down. And we don't know how to process through that pain, so we repress it. And so the great sports superstars or the billionaires I work with or the companies like Starbucks, FedEx, Nike, IBM, when I work with their leadership teams, what I do is I help them move through that well of blockage within themselves. Because in the book, there's a very disruptive model, and it's called the 4 interior empires. And just really quickly, so many people are talking about mindset. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Right? Everything is mindset. If you just dial in your mindset, you're going to go out there and you're going to change the world. Well, here's what that model is about. I think mindset is only 25% of the personal mastery equation.
Yeah.
And here's why. It's very important to have a great mindset. That's your psychology. You want to wire in the beliefs of world class, no question. But a great psychology with a broken heart or a heart full of pain, if you haven't forgiven the unforgiven, if you're stuck in the past, you can read the books and go to the courses and get a great mindset and you're all on fire, but you sabotage yourself because your emotional life is toxic. So it's not just mindset. There's this second word I'm introducing, which is it's going to transform people. It's heart set. But it's not only purifying your heart set. You want to calibrate your mindset, purify your heart set, and then it's this other word I'm introducing, health set. That's the 3rd interior empire. Because if you want to change the world, don't die, right?
Yes.
So one of the keys to legendary is longevity. And there's a lot of the book on how the best in the world, the great geniuses, manage their vitality. So they were like in their 90s still rocking their craft. So it's mindset, heart set, health set, which is your physical life. And here's a key that I think will resonate with you. It's the 4th interior empire is your soul set.
Yes.
Now, some of your listeners from across the planet will go, well, I'm a business builder, or I want creativity, productivity. Why are we talking about soul set? Well, if your ego is running the day, you're never going to go out there and change the world. A bad day for the ego is an awesome day for the soul. So working on your soul set so you are a titan of humanity and you're intimate with your highest nature and you're wiring in the great values and you're living for a cause that's bigger than yourself. That's what allows you to go out in the world and move through failures and really own your domain. So those 4 interior empires, once you work on those, you go out in the world and automatically everything you touch is golden, because our outer success is always a function of who we are on the inside.
Rule number 3, follow the 20-20-20 formula.
Before the sun rises is the time of least distraction. Before the sun rises, where you can build intimacy and fluency with what you want to stand for in your day. Before the sun rises, the luxury and tranquility of the early morning hours, you can do that deep inner work that will allow you to go out in the world and play at your best. So what the 20-20-20 formula is simply this. There's 3 pockets. The first pocket is move, 5 to 5-20. And you get into the sweaty exercise because, like I mentioned, it releases neurotransmitters, it reduces the cortisol, it increases your metabolic rate, which gives you more energy. So now, and serotonin as well, which gives you joy. So now it's 5:20. Fundamentally, you feel different. You have energy. Your state is strong. You've got a fire in your belly, and you've accelerated your focus. 5:20 to 5:40 is the second pocket of the 20-20-20 formula, which is reflect. We live in a world where a lot of people are busy being busy, but what's the point of being busy around climbing the wrong Mount Everests? And so clarity is one of the DNAs of mastery. You know this. If you talk to the titans of industry and you talk to the people really getting traction around their ambition, these are people who have a monomaniacal focus on the few things that matter. They have an obsession bordering on a possession around the few priorities they want to build their life around. And so 5:20 to 5:40, the second pocket, you write in a journal. You meditate. You visualize. You do what I call in the book a blueprint for a beautiful day. Or you just sit in solitude and you think and you ponder and you reflect. And then the final pocket is 5:40 to 6 o'clock, and this is the victory hour. The final pocket is grow. But if you look at the greatest billionaires, I've coached many billionaires over the past 20 years. If you look at the greatest producers on the planet, these people have one thing in common. They are ridiculously curious. And no matter how much money they make and no matter how much impact they have, they maintain a white belt mentality. One of the keys to epic performance is a relentless commitment to daily growth. So that's the 20-20-20 formula that the 5 a.m. method is built around. And the premise is basically this: as you begin your day, so you handcraft the rest of your day. And if you have consistently great days, you're going to have consistently great weeks, quarters, year, and a lifetime. So your days are life in miniature, and you got to get those mornings calibrated if you really want to win.
Rule number 4, do your best.
I think that's an important point, which is I think we live in a world where the seduction is to push 1,000 pieces of mediocrity versus deliver one piece of mastery. Yeah. And what I mean by that is if you spend 20 years on one book, but it is the greatest book that you could possibly do, then that's a win. And by the way, even if the world doesn't applaud what you bring to the world, if you've delivered your piece of magic to the world, your Sistine Chapel ceiling to the world, you've won.
Yes.
You know, we live in this world that is much more about egoism versus heroism. And I think heroism is, it's really, the race is really a race against yourself. I'm not that into applause and, you know, worldly accolades. I think if you feel you've done your best and you've been true to your creativity and you've lived by your values and you've released what you believe to be magic to the world and you've done your best to raise others while you've honored yourself, you're a hero. You've won. You know, it doesn't matter if you're an army of one. I mean, I believe Van Gogh didn't sell one piece of art while he was alive.
Also, if you want to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. It's free. The link to join is in the description below.
One of the real reasons we don't do the things that frighten us is because we are afraid of being judged. And so to become fearless, why not find some time every day to practice becoming fearless? Stop resisting. I encourage you, stop resisting the natural flow of epic performance. Stop resisting the natural seasons of life.
Rule number 5, break your addiction.
Your phone is costing you your fortune. It is an addiction. It's a dopamine addiction. Start the process of breaking your addiction to distraction here in this room today. You've invested in this. You're a learning investor. The best investment you can make is being in this room. Why would you spend it checking your notifications, looking at your email, looking at SMS, looking at pictures of people's breakfasts? Why would you do that? Well, this is your life. This is your career. This is your craft. This is your service to humanity. Why would you be checking your phone? And if you look at a victim, if you look at most people on the planet, they're literally hooked to a white screen. They are wasting their human potential hooked into some social platform that is creating empires for other people. Many people, if not most people, are now a form of artificial intelligence. They're not living their brain's potential. They're not living their physiological potential. They're not living their creative potential. They're not living their human potential. They're not living their economic potential. Why? Because they're hooked to a screen. It is the most frightening time in the history of the world, and it's the most gorgeous time in the history of humanity. Why? Because it's never been so easy to be a hero. Because most people aren't doing it. Most people are lost. Most people are hooked. So turn off your phones. Get serious about this. This is your game. This is your life. This is your sport. And before you know it, you will be at the end. We all know that life goes by in a blink.
Rule number 6, optimize your energy.
One of the lines from right out of the 5 a.m. Club is one of the DNAs of legendary is longevity. So if you look at the Picassos, the Jean-Michel Basquiat, you look at the great sports champions, you look at the great history makers, they were much better at energy management than time management. And so we're in a war against distraction right now, and what we really have to do is optimize our energy. How do I do it? Well, I mean, I get to the morning routine, which the whole book is based on. But it's really quite powerful, because if you start your day with sweaty exercise, you're actually going to activate a pharmacy of mastery that exists in every human brain. I know you love the neuroscience. You're going to release BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's going to actually accelerate your processing. It's actually going to repair brain cells that have been damaged by stress. You're going to release the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is the fire neurotransmitter, which we all need as entrepreneurs and business builders and servants of humanity. Cortisol, the fear hormone, is highest in the morning, so exercising first thing in the morning is going to reduce that. I'm getting into my 20-20-20 formula, but I mention it because it is a way to maximize your energy.
Rule number 7, pursue your monuments of mastery.
And we live in a world where a lot of people, this is right out of the book, an addiction to distraction is the death of creative production. There are a lot of cyber zombies on the planet. There are a lot of people on the planet right now giving the best hours of their finest days to the white screen of attractions. And I really think that betraying your genius, every single person on the planet has primal genius within them. That's scientifically proven. We can talk about it. I go into it in the book. But playing with your phone versus pursuing your monuments of mastery is betraying not only yourself, I think it's betraying the world. And so I really believe, and I've experienced it for 2 decades with my clients, getting up at 5 a.m. and running this calibrated 20-20-20 formula that much of the book is about, will take any human being to a new level of creativity, productivity, prosperity, and service to humanity.
Rule number 8, trust your instincts.
I think, Marie, life's greatest heartbreak is being untrue to yourself. And I come from very humble beginnings. I have a great family. And yet the people around me said, if you become a lawyer, like I basically had a choice, become an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. And so I followed through on that, and I went to law school, and I became a really successful litigation lawyer. And I had, a nice place to live, and I had a nice car, and I was making great money. And people said, you're on your way to being a judge. And yet I would wake up every morning and I would look at myself in the bathroom mirror, and I didn't like or even know the person who was looking back at me. And I love that word angst. That angst just got to a point where I said I had to make some changes. And so I started listening to that silent whisper of my heart. There's something I believe in, which is instinct is much more powerful and wiser than intellect. And I think when all of us trust our instinct in a world that says intellect and logic is everything, we start to enter what Mr. Riley in the 5 a.m. Club calls the magic. And that's sort of what happened to me. I find your destiny doesn't knock, it whispers. And so it wasn't this epiphany, Right. It was just, I think when you start to trust your instinct and trust yourself versus the world, and you sort of block out the opinions of other people, the pace of synchronicity starts to open up, and these doors that you're supposed to walk through start to present themselves to you.
Rule number 9, detach.
I've gone through situations where people have tried to take me down. You're absolutely right. I've had 10 years of my personal journals where I pour my heart, my confusion, my pain, my hopes, my dream. I've had those, I'll just simply say, taken.
Wow.
Which taught me detachment.
Wow.
Like, Lewis, imagine, do you journal?
A little bit, here and there, yes, a little bit.
Okay, journaling is incredible.
It's powerful, yeah.
For self-excavation, for creativity, productivity. Yeah. We can get into epigenetics. If you want to rewire your psychology as well as your heart set, journaling is powerful. But I've had those taken
away from you.
Just taken away from me.
10 years of journals.
10 years of journals.
Oh my God, all your private thoughts.
All my private thoughts.
Fears.
Exactly. So that's just one thing that I've gone through.
So what was the lesson there? Learning detachment and
letting go.
Not caring about the opinions of others?
There's been another time of my life, and I don't think I've ever shared this publicly, but where there was a situation where I could have lost everything that I've spent 22 years in this field of leadership and personal mastery building, which again taught me what real wealth and success is all about. I mean, there's a line in the 5 a.m. Club, which is nothing is worth the price of your peace of mind.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is get advantage from tranquility.
Tranquility is the new luxury. So whether you're a homemaker, a professional athlete, an entrepreneur, a pizza builder, maybe that's not the term of art, but you do your best work, we have our greatest impact, and we are most true to our best selves when we're tranquil, peaceful, and serene. And that's another value of joining the 5 a.m. Club, because those hours before the sun rises are the most peaceful, magical, quiet period of the day. And if we can anchor in who we truly want to be before we go out into a messy world, well, we're going to fundamentally behave differently.
Now, I've got a special bonus clip from Robin on how to experience suffering that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what can you do today to optimize your energy? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're still here watching and you promise, you commit, let's go Believe Nation. We don't just watch videos here, we do something about it. If you are going to commit to taking action today, give me a hashtag Believe in the comments below. I want to celebrate you.
There's a line in the 5 a.m. Club from Rumi, the great philosopher, and he said, keep breaking your heart over and over until it opens. And the last chapter of the 5 a.m. Club is set in Robben Island. And I don't want to, ruin the surprise ending, but it has a lot to do with Nelson Mandela. And my life changed about 2.5 years ago when I stood in Nelson Mandela's prison cell. I took the ferry over to Robben Island, and I had a private guide, take me into the prison cell. And he was a former ANC prisoner. And I said, "Did you know Mr. Mandela?" And he said, "I served 8 years with Nelson Mandela." Wow. And I said, "What was he like?" And he said, "That man was a humble servant."
I just got chills.
Yeah, and I stood in the limestone quarry where he was forced to do 8 years of hard labor with no meaning, because they didn't use the limestone for anything. It was just another form of psychological torture. And I stood in the shower area where young guards would see this elderly statesman showering, and they again laughed at him. And in the book, I actually shared the story of how they asked Nelson Mandela to create a grave, to dig a grave.
For himself?
Yeah. And
oh my gosh.
And then, Lewis, they said, get in the grave.
No way.
And they urinated on him.
No way.
And yet, as I share in the book, when he emerged from prison, he invited the prosecutor who looked for the death penalty to dinner.
Oh my gosh.
And he took one of the prison guards who tortured him, but he later got to know him and became sort of friends. He invited him to his inauguration as the president of South Africa. And he was asked, why would you possibly do that? And he said, because if I didn't, I'd still be in prison. And I think the larger point for your millions of followers is simply to remember, leadership in life is a wild, beautiful journey. It's dangerous. If you want to get to the top of the mountain, a lot of the 5M Club is about exponential creativity, productivity, elite performance. If you want to do those things, if you want to be a real history maker, it's a dangerous game. It's a fun game. You're going to suffer. You're going to be exhilarated. You're going to be tested. You're going to go to the jagged edges of your potential. But it's not always easy, but it's the most beautiful way to spend the rest of your life.
If you want another amazing video highlighting excellence in the Indian community, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.